Now, I don't know if Alexandra or some other people might join us. That's totally up to them. I don't have anything set for the class, but I notice people have been contacting me a lot about how to get the protocols down. This one woman, she reached out to me and says, well, I have an injury to my wrist, and should I just put a little bit on it? How long should it last? She's asking me all these questions, and it seems no matter what my answer is, I eventually bring the subject back to it's intuitive, right? If you put it on once, it's only going to affect you once. But if you put a moist washcloth or material around it and secure it in place and keep it wet, you could eventually keep that on there all day long without having to reapply a new material. So that's up to you. So I was teaching her, it's intuitive. I can give you my suggestion, and it's the same with all the protocols. People are going to ask you, what do you do about this? And what do you do about that? Well, you can tell them your personal experience. You can show them what's written up in the books, like my book, or you can say, well, what would you do? And empower them to make the decision and learn how to use their intuition.
Yeah. It's all about people just figuring out on their own. That's kind of like, there is this ancient technique that, like, if you're traveling or you want to just check energy of the place, you can put your hand on your heart and see the heartbeat, and the heart is going to tell you, like, if that's like a safe direction to go or not safe direction to go. And that's kind of the same with urine. You're like, you take it, you look at it, you see it, and you're like, oh, it would be good for me to drink half a cup now, and later on maybe 2 cups or a liter to have like enema from the other side. I don't know.
Yeah, up the other hole. Yeah. So eventually you guys will get to the point in your urine therapy journey and lifestyles that this will immediately come to your mind as your go-to. When I was pulling weeds and cutting shrubs, I took a bang to my finger, and boom, immediately I'm outside peeing and collecting it, put it on my finger or my big toe or a scrape right here. And within 2, 3, 4 days, it's healed.
Yeah, so I have many people that I know that, like, for example, if they get some kind of an infection or whatever, like, they just use it and it goes away like within a day. Like something that maybe would require a surgical procedure, like it's just disappearing.
Right. And what we're doing is so simple and so powerful. It takes rethinking by a lot of people, because we're used to going to, hydrogen peroxide or calamine lotion or and all their different go-to over-the-counter drugs or shampoo and conditioner, underarm deodorant. We're so programmed to be a commercialized human being, to look for something outside of us to heal us, when indeed we have the medicine within us. So it's a switch of perception for a lot of people.
Yeah, and like a lot of people they don't just ask deep enough questions. It's like, I went to one survival school, and I asked I'm in a forest, and they told me, oh, if a snake bites you, you just go to the doctor. And I'm like, doctor in a forest? It doesn't mix very well, And then I said, like, well, I read that you can use it, you can use your urine. And even those people who are into survival and primitive stuff, they are like yuck factor, they have a yuck factor.
Yeah, and that's because they haven't looked any deeper into it. Because the first response people give you, they give you the disgust look or the gag reflex, or they start criticizing you. They don't know what the heck they're talking about.
Yeah, and when people say, oh, your urine is disgusting and you just don't want to drink it, my usual response is that, like, well, that's your urine.
Yeah, you've not tried my urine. You have no idea what I know.
Yeah.
Here, have some now. Let's find out if it's good for you.
Yeah.
What I've enjoyed is people who I meet here in our local community here in Boulder, Colorado, who know my relationship with this water and are willing to trust me and take a leap of faith and drink it in front of a stranger. I've had friends in nearby cities who says, I'm taking your advice, I'm going to go with it, I trust you, and they come back from the bathroom and they drink it. Well, I made this friend with this gal out in Puerto Rico. And she got into the same position. She says, I'm not really feeling too good, but I've known you for a while and I love you and I trust you. So she goes to the bathroom, comes back with her pee jar and drinks in front of me on camera for her maiden voyage. I thought that was pretty gutsy.
Yeah.
And you're also going to find people who meet you and they go, oh my God, someone I can actually talk about this subject with. Because a lot of people don't feel the support and we all need it right now because a lot of people are embarrassed. One gal, she was giving me a hard time because I wouldn't take down the YouTube video that she was one of the people in the video. It was one of our Zoom calls. And when it got up to 200 views, 225 views, she was having a conniption fit and falling apart. And she was going, oh, you're being disrespectful and you're not paying attention. And I'm embarrassed because of my wife, my husband and my kids and my family. I said, well, you kind of knew that when you got on the call. We're discussing and recording this subject. So you're going to have to work that out. I'm not going to take down the video. That's why I'm doing disclaimers now. We do our Zoom conference call so people will know this is being recorded. If you don't want it to be recorded, turn off your camera and your microphone or leave the call.
Yeah.
We're not doing anything controversial, but people's minds make it that way.
Yeah, people are, I guess, afraid of, and that's also like, well, that's what happens when you marry normal people, right? Like crazies are into this stuff that we're in, so it's much more fun to be crazy like that.
It's fun to be crazy, particularly being crazy with something you know is the best thing going.
Yeah. Yeah, like there's different types of crazies. Like it's not very good to be crazy going out and like killing people and stuff, but if somebody is into things that like we did thousands of years ago, it's like that's not crazy, that's like
Genius.
like old fashion came back, you know, kind of stuff.
Well, you know, there is a fine line. I think Natalie knows this one. There is a fine line that we tread as human beings, and the fine line is between genius and madman.
Yeah.
And depending on what side you're on, you're going to make the most brilliant discoveries and writings and things will come out of you. Or if you're a mad person, you probably wouldn't associate with anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very like all the characteristics are like have other parts of other characteristics, so it's kind of like very complex thing. But,
So have you presented urine therapy to anybody recently?
well, I have an experience where I talked to somebody and somebody else that got advice from like indirectly from me. They drank urine and the person had like because person is kind of like a little bit overweight, they get like flushing out of their intestines like very quickly. So they made the decision that they're gonna drink urine once a month to like kind of like cleanse themselves. But you know, it's good for a start, right?
Well, if people go through an intense cleanse too quickly and they don't understand what's going on, they're likely to judge that which they use, in this case, the Shivambu. And I would have these people cut down dramatically to even down to an ounce or a couple of droppers fulls every day so they could keep ingesting that good nutrient in their body, and introduce them to topical protocols like the foot soak and the eye rinses and then in the neti pot and et cetera, so they get used to seeing results a lot sooner than a month later.
Yeah, it's like it's better to go step by step than to like jump 10 steps and fall away. So
we want people to know what they have and to form a good association with it so they'll keep it up to practice. Because like a lot of things that are really good for people, you might have been one of those guys who tried it out. You may not have got the results you wanted immediately. So a lot of people fall in the category of been there, done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have friends who actually are close to me in my life that dropped off of urine therapy for 10, 15, 20 years. And then noticed that I wouldn't shut up about it, and they got back on and their health has improved.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Yeah, because like some people like try once or twice and then they just leave it. I was like that. I tried it a little bit and then I didn't done nothing for a few years, and then again, and then I don't know. But yeah, it has like very good benefits when I use it, like in all stages, even when I was vegan and now as a meat eater, and like people use it throughout the history in all climates and everywhere.
Well, it in itself has the power to heal us, bring us back to a sane, calm mind again, help us with our emotions, our elevation in consciousness. But it's a matter of making a connection that's so strong you'll never break it. Like most people that you talk to have a relationship with God. They don't want to break that connection. Well, Shivambu is that kind of energy or presence for me. I can't see ever stopping it because every day you're out in the world. Things get into your body, things get into your mouth, things come through your clothing. I mean, there's all kinds of contaminants everywhere. And it's nice to be ahead of all that. So even if you're sip looping throughout the day, you heard about sip looping, right?
Yeah.
Every time you collect it, sip a little, and then save the rest for another use.
Yeah.
So by doing that, you're doing time, release, nutrition throughout the day. And for some people, that's a lot easier than going, well, let's see, I took my last drink at 2 o'clock. It's now 3:30. I think I'll wait another half an hour, 4 o'clock, versus just every time you pee. That's almost like intuitively, here comes the medicine. It knows the timing. I don't have to look at a clock. Did you guys ever, and this is something I posted about a week ago, has anybody ever figured out what their pee cycles are? Like you figure out your menstrual cycles, but have you figured out your pee cycles? Do you pee at the same time every day, or does it change every day?
Well, for me, it's based on how much I'm drinking and what I'm drinking. Like, I usually drink a lot of liquids because I drink a lot of milk. But yeah, if I'm not drinking anything, then I just do it a few times throughout the day. But otherwise, it's like liters and liters.
Natalie.
It depends what I'm doing and how warm it is. Like it's been pretty warm and humid in Minnesota lately. So depending on that, it depends how much how much water or other juice I'm drinking. And it depends on the healing cycle too, what my body is healing from, because in German New Medicine, Dr. Hammer saw that you excrete a whole bunch more pee when your brain relays have healed. It doesn't need that extra nutrients and water. Once they're healed, it releases all of that fluid. So I don't think there's a certain pattern in anybody that's consistent all the time, because I don't know, so many things in our environment change so frequently. I guess I don't see a pattern, a cycle that's consistent.
Okay, and I'm guessing it's kind of hard for people to measure that, because I remember the night I would get up 2 or 3 times to pee, and when you're woken up by your bladder, no way you're going to be able to figure out how to write something down.
Yeah.
I mean, I can barely make it to my pee cup and then stagger back to the bed. And to try to figure out how to write down and look at a clock and put down, oh yeah, I'm peeing now, it's 1 a.m. That would be a little difficult.
Yeah. I wake up throughout the night only if I don't go to bed at time, or if I just drink a lot before going to sleep. And also I'm sleeping on inclined bed, so that helps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I like my circulation and everything is going like 100% of the time. I don't cut it like 8 hours like most people. I mean, it's not that that's that bad, but it kind of is. But
How many hours do you sleep?
6 to 8, 7, I don't know, depending.
Solid sleep?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about me. I go to bed at around 10:30. I wake up around 5:30.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be just fine. And then I take a about 1 or 2 20-minute cat naps through the day.
Yeah, that's cool. Natalie, you?
Yeah, I mostly try to go to sleep by 1, and my dog wakes me up usually like 9 to take him out. So, but most of the time I sleep consistently through the night. I don't, as long as nothing wakes me up, because sometimes like I live in a downtown Minneapolis, so sometimes like people with loud engines in their car will drive on my street like at 3 in the morning, and that wakes me up. But as long as it's quiet, I stay sleeping, and for the most part feel rested when I get up in the morning. But again, with German New Medicine, Dr. Hammer saw people wake up between 1 and 4 in the morning. If they don't, their psyches will wake them up to help them process whatever trauma they didn't fully process yet. So, but most of the time I process my traumas right away, so I don't wake up in the middle of the night thinking about things that are unresolved yet. And I rarely wake up to go pee at night. Like, that rarely happens.
Nice. So you get deep sleep and you're doing your work while you're asleep.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's why like people just intuitively know to like make love at night, because that's the time where like people are like during the day people go outside and absorb all the light, and then when the nighttime comes, it used to like filter, clean, and like kind of to like refresh the body. So when people make love at night, they I think that helps to like process something psychological without going through like all this thinking and stuff. Helps people to relax. I mean, I know from my experience.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Plus, you're discharging any emotional stuff that you've been holding on to all day during that time.
Yeah, it's like a real difference. Like at night, it's very refreshing. Very refreshing.
Well, that's usually when people have let go of everything they could so they can be present with their partner.
Yeah.
So since we're doing a talk on urine therapy, is there any questions or any discoveries or anything you'd like to share with the viewers?
Oh yeah, like I took your advice to try to wash my hair with it, and still I have these white spots in like when I go like with my hand like this, those white things go like a snow.
Dandruff.
So, yeah, I don't know how that's called, but yeah, dandruff. And yeah, so should I use like fermented urine for it? Would it be a better to like catch it and throw it away, or what should I do?
I would say use what you have. If you have fresh, use fresh. If you've collected and it's been aging, use that. But the whole idea is to get those nutrients into the scalp so that I mean, some people say that's just dead skin coming off, some old cells that are being eliminated. So if nothing else, you want to nourish your scalp and the follicles in whatever areas of the brain you can.
Mm-hmm.
Natalie, you wanted to add something?
Well, you can look up on the learninggnm.com website and look up the dandruff. They'll tell you what trauma created it. Because every trauma is just healing those symptoms, or just healing your body stronger. So the next time you get overwhelmed in that same kind of situation, you don't have the symptoms anymore because your body healed itself stronger to endure that same energy again. I could go look it up right now, but there's a emotional connection to why the dandruff is showing up in the first place. That's where I start looking.
Right.
One time in my life, I had really thick white dandruff on my scalp, but that was like 10 years ago. But I didn't know German New Medicine then, so I didn't know what it was going on. But
You figured it out?
well, no, not from 10 years ago. I didn't, because I can't remember exactly what was going on in my life emotionally right before that dandruff showed up. Because I only known German New Medicine the last 4 years, so I don't know what the connection was back then. All I know is I remember going to my hairdresser to get my hair cut, and that's when she really noticed I had a ton of dandruff on my scalp, and I didn't really realize it even. And she just pointed that out. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize my scalp had that much dandruff on it. But I used to use that. Then I started using that. It's like a tar-based dandruff. It's like dark brown. It's probably super toxic, but there's
This
this
was a dandruff
Approved.
product?
yeah, it wasn't Head and Shoulders because that's a popular one. That one's white. This one was like brown and it had like tar in it. And I used that on my scalp for a while, but then it got better. So it seems fine now. So
Okay, and you started with urine therapy, as that was part of your protocol?
it is now, just in the last 2 months. I've been washing my hair once a week with my urine. Because I'll just collect it, I'll sip loop it, put it in my eyes every morning, and then collect it, and then once a week I just take a bath in all of my extra that I have left over. So that I have enough space to keep storing it.
Mhm.
So that
So in terms of dandruff, so you would say that they're not natural, or like, is it just a product of trauma? What do you think?
well, I don't know what you mean by not natural, but because I feel like every symptom is natural way to heal us stronger. So
Mhm.
because it's just like when you lift weight, you rip your muscle apart while you're lifting weight, and then it heals itself stronger when you're resting. Well, it's the same thing all the symptoms are doing. They're just healing you stronger.
Mhm.
I'd have to go look it up on the website.
Yeah, if you get a chance, just do a screenshot and send it out to us on private messenger.
Yeah,
Yeah,
makes sense.
your body's either going through a healing process, which is part of the purification and getting itself restored to balance, or it's doing a nourishing and a feeding process, which usually happens during the daytime. So you could be on either side of that cycle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like people can store it. I never really did that to like store. I don't know. I kind of never did like fermented urine very much.
Have you been using it more and more, the evolving urine?
Not really. I don't know. I bought some cloth to use on milk kefir, so maybe I can try that too. Yeah.
Have you been collecting?
Usually everything I collect, I use instantly, or I don't know. I wasn't that disciplined, I guess you could say. But yeah.
Well, that's fine because it's always fresh and you always have what you need for the day.
Yeah, always new, always there.
If you do start saving it and then you decide you want to do foot soaks or enemas or baths, you'll have a larger quantity than you would have had.
Yeah, like I was thinking that there is this one famous basketball guy who does foot soaks like every day or very often, and he had like no illnesses, I mean no injuries during like 10 years or something, I don't know. And maybe people should like collect it like for 1 year and just collect it and collect it to have like every day to do like baths, and then to like fill it up like forever. Or
Well, you have to figure that out. I mean, if you're just going to do like 8 ounces, 12 ounces a day, which was what most people are averaging, then the rest of it, particularly if you're drinking a lot and peeing a lot, the rest of it you can start aging it with. You can start storing it up. I probably have 4 or 5 gallons stored around the house. So whenever I need to have a larger quantity, you have it. Or if I need it for teaching, I have it. But you never know when you need it for more than just drinking or putting it on your face.
yeah, it's like always yeah, that's the best thing about it. It's like you have it in unlimited amounts. It's like the only person who cannot gather urine, either they have some problems or they're dead. Like otherwise you can have it always in all situations.
Well, there are people who have some kind of health challenges and they can't urinate, but they can borrow the urine from somebody else.
Yeah, that's Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. Like there is one person I know, like cousin of mine that has I mean not like a cousin but a friend of a cousin has like a problem urinating, and they have like some cyst or something, and they need to carry like bag with them to like to filter that out. So if they took somebody else's urine and drink, you think that would fix it? That will like help it? Like,
Yeah, well, you'd have to look at the rest of their life and not just the urine part, because you have to look at the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. But I just thought of another, example of somebody who can't urinate. For example, when people are stung by a jellyfish or a man-o-war, they've been swimming in the ocean at the beach, right? They got all these little particles, these little stingers on them from the man-o-war.
yeah,
All right, they're laying down on the beach and they're shocked. They're still in shock. The body's trying to figure out what to do, and they're not thinking that they're about urinating, but you might be able to. So get some on top of them. Either pee on them or turn your back and collect some and splash it on them.
yeah, yeah. That to be ultimate lifesaver. Yeah, it's kind of like those people can like swim and save a person if they're drowning, and I'm like, I have my own water, I don't need to swim. Here it is,
Well, it happened to a friend of mine. We were out in Hawaii. I was living in Hawaii with my wife, and his name was Kerry, and he went swimming, and he came back. He had jellyfish stings on his back, and we take him to the hospital, and the doctors examined him and says, look, you can either use meat tenderizer or you can use urine. He said, thank you, doctor. And he was one of these stubborn ex-military guys. He says, well, I'm not going to pay you for this visit. He stormed out of the hospital, and we ended up buying some meat tenderizer. But just to cool him off, we would have loved to peed on him, just to chill him out.
Yeah.
So Natalie, did you bring something back for us?
Yeah, I just went and looked up dandruff. And so it's the epidermis skin layer that it's affecting, and it's a separation conflict. So for instance, on your head, if you have a hat or a helmet on, that the hat's either itching your head or the helmet's hot and sweaty and you want it off, and maybe at that moment you can't take it off, then that's where the conflict comes in, because it's something you want to separate from. But say you're riding bike and you need to keep your helmet on, that can cause the dandruff to be a symptom.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
there's a conflict.
Yeah, makes sense.
Wanting to separate from something that you can't, but
Yeah.
it's very
Mhm.
subtle and it can happen so fast. So sometimes to catch it in the moment and just, because I'm still trying to catch some of my conflicts that I have still. It's so subtle.
Yeah.
Well, I get that. I've been doing a lot of counseling across the world, and I hear people's, if you sit and listen long enough, you can hear people's belief systems, but they don't hear it because they're saying it, so they hear it outside of their head. And so what I've been teaching people, and you could use it for healing anything, the statement up until now, it's an incomplete sentence. So for example, if you use the statement up until now, I was dealing with dandruff. Up until now, I was dealing with a conflict. And then you move it into the next statement, which is, I'm open to the possibility of releasing my need for this condition, or I'm open to the possibility of healing this condition. You can heal anything.
That's a
Yeah.
really great insight. Yeah, up until now, I've been, yeah.
Okay, so I teach 3 power statements. You want to write them down. One is up until now, and you draw a line to the right of it because it's an incomplete sentence, which your mind is going to complete.
Up until now,
Yeah, you got a pen and paper?
can I on the laptop? Maybe, yeah, I can maybe turn the volume down.
Yeah, well, right now we have a personal assistant writing it down. Up until now, draw a line to the right. That's going to be, it's called an incomplete sentence stem. The second statement, I'm going to give you 3. The second one is, I'm open to the possibility of, for example, people who had an issue with talking in front of groups or being intimate relationships or healing a broken this and that. That happened before you got to this moment. So without dragging all that any further down the day, down your timeline, immediately declare how you want it to be. I prefer it to be this way. I'm open to the possibility of being absolutely healthy, happy, and free, or whatever is your challenges. You can turn that around in any moment, because the truth is, angels are on standby. The universe is on standby, waiting for you to ask for assistance. So by saying you're open to the possibility, you bring a lot of forces together that you couldn't do before because you had resistance. The last statement, you got those so far, Natalie? The last statement, I think it applies to a lot of people. The statement is, I choose to know. Every time you tell yourself, I don't know this, I don't know that, I don't know this, I don't know how to do that, what you're telling the universe in truth is, I'm not ready to know that. So if you choose to know it, the universe will give you the knowledge, the knowing. And you can use this every time you have a block to knowing something. Well, I don't know how to pilot a helicopter. I don't know how to fix a computer. I don't know how to da-da-da. Well, that's because you never thought there might be a possibility to learn that. So do these three statements make any sense?
Yeah, and even if people even if people have a possibility to learn, and even if like no knowledge is put in front of them, sometimes they just have a negative belief system about themselves or their own intelligence or whatever that other people try to program them with, and then it can serve as a blockage also.
They are crippled by three things: doubt, fear, and concern. Watch how powerful your life becomes and how everything transforms in your life when you totally let go of doubt, concern, and fear. And that seems to run people. And if you let it run, you get a little insecure, and then your self-esteem suffers. And it's basically, you got to go back to trusting the universe again, which is trusting yourself.
Yeah, there is famous quote that says that if you trust yourself, you trust the same wisdom that created you. So
yeah, that is your God self, or your Christ self, or whatever word you like. Because I have an audience, they all have a different word for the same thing, which has no words. I don't know if you caught the video I posted a few days ago, this black girl who's sucking on the lollipop.
I didn't.
Oh, she talks about this infinite intelligence that's beyond time and space that created the universe. And it wasn't a personality, but it had to be outside of time, space, and all the other references of putting things together in order to create us, to create the universe. And she did a really good job of it. For people still think they need evidence. She says, you got God, that's all the evidence you need. Anyway, it was a great little talk, and I wanted to share that with you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, like people had different opinions, different way of expressing. And I mean, yeah, like urine therapy is very connected to spirituality, because it's some people think, oh, that's just an Indian thing, or this is just that thing, or the other thing. But it's like, it's in all of the scriptures everywhere. It's like literally everywhere.
It's everywhere, and it's a universal water for a reason. We all remember, whether we were still conscious or not, we swam and drank and massaged ourselves in our mommy's belly, which was loaded with urine, amniotic fluid, and all those great things. And we came out a beautiful baby body. Well, that memory has been encoded in your mind, or in your psyche somewhere, so that when you finally hear the word urine therapy, it's not so difficult to stretch to take it in. And a lot of people, the ones that have resistance, they haven't got to that realization, but you guys did.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it's something deep biological, like people feel connected to themselves when they do it the first time.
Well, that's the work we're doing with what we call newbies, because if you talk to the Water family on social media, we already made the jump. We already questioned the old myth and the propaganda about urine being disgusted, and we found out that they got it wrong, we got it right. But all the other people who program the other way, it takes them as long as it takes them to see things in a new way. It's the same thing. Like I go to the stores here in Boulder, Colorado, you probably caught on here, is they lifted the mask mandate across the United States. So I'm walking into the health food store. I called all the stores and said, do I have to wear a mask? Because, you know, it's optional. And they said, no, we won't enforce it, but we encourage you to wear it, right? So I'm walking into these stores and there's only like me and one other guy, or maybe me and one other girl, and we're the only ones without a mask on, which means all the other people, it takes them a little bit longer to realize they're wearing a mask for no reason. There's no virus anymore. We've been told by the CDC it's over, but they haven't caught on, or they're still scared.
Yeah, about the virus, it's really.
Does that happen in your town, Natalie?
I didn't hear that the whole mask mandate has been lifted from the United States, because I only kind of hear things through my Uber passengers, because I don't have TV, so I don't. Really.
Yeah, well, they announced it here locally because the governor got he got his orders from the CDC, the Center of Disease Control. So that, by the way, is not a federal agency organization. It's private. People don't know that. But if it's been lifted, that tells me there ain't no virus, because the people are wearing it thinking, well, maybe they might still get it, but other people aren't wearing a mask. What can you conclude from that? And that's what they're having to sort out, because they've been led to believe in something that's been not real, but they've been led to believe it's been real for over a year. So they have a hard time switching over.
Yeah, it's like people, it's so funny, like people became so afraid in like a civilized life, that like people like to say that all life in nature is very like hard and very cruel and this, that, and the other, but that kind of fear, you know, led them to live in civilization, to be like quote unquote safe, and then like people took this as some kind of fashion. I noticed it's like they don't know what they're afraid of, they don't know why, they don't know what it is, but my neighbor is afraid, and this person is afraid, and this person also, oh, so I'm gonna shake too just to fit in, you know. It's like those same people would take like underwear and put to their head with writing idiot, you know, and they would go to the street and be, I'm healthy, you know.
Well, it kind of reminds me of the people who are germophobics. And I've had clients and associates I've worked with that they're allergic to everything. They're uptight about everything. They have the very expensive HEPA filter in their office, and you got to make sure you touch things a certain way and put things back a certain way. And I had a hard time with this other practitioner I was sharing an office with. Between that and the pandemic, it all hit at once, and she was in breakdown mode, and I had to leave the office. I couldn't work with her. So everybody has their strength and their weaknesses, and it seems that you found out in the last year who was stronger and who wasn't.
Yeah, some people are really, I call it IQ test in the open, you know. It's like
yeah, it's an obvious IQ test. It's a litmus paper. Let's test these people out, see if they have what it takes. But the same thing, what happened during the last year is more and more people were writing articles about urine therapy is your prevention and cure for all contamination to the immune system and viral attack, and especially COVID.
Yeah.
I noticed a lot of people putting out urine therapy videos and writings about, I've taken my vaccine. If anybody asks you, have you taken your vaccine? I said, yeah, I think I'll have some right now.
Yeah,
No,
and people actually do take it as a shot. So
well, yeah, I was putting up my post about the writings I had put in my book about urine therapy injections. And some folks like Matt out in New York, man, he went out and bought a needle. He went out and bought a syringe and several size needles. He says, I'm jumping on this one. I want to be sure, because he lives in New York. Why not be, you know, have a strong immune system if you live in New York?
So did he done it? Like, what's his experience?
Well, he started injecting himself, poking it in his butt. I mean, it's either going to be your thigh or some muscle in that area. And he says, oh my God, I was sick for about a day. And then the next day I started getting stronger. And the third and fourth day, he's starting better and better, better. That tells me how much he did drugs when he was younger and whatever else he had in his mouth or in his body. But he loved it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Not everybody. Now I'm a futuristic thinker. Did you guys get any of my books?
Yeah, I have both.
All right. Did you read the part about the future of Shivambu and the future of the movement?
I didn't go to that yet.
Well, in the future, when this catches on, there'll be massage clinics offering urine therapy body work. There'll be spas that do urine therapy, full body compression body wraps. And since I just discovered that there are businesses across the United States, in Colorado, in Las Vegas, in California, they do IV shots, and they do IV shots and they do IV drips, where they're putting glutathione, B12, D3, and different nutrients into the bloodstream. I wanted to go to talk to them about, why don't you just include urine therapy? You'll get a whole new clientele. But I backed down because I realized these guys are having to really dot the I's and cross the T's, even to be open, have their business open in the United States. And they're a little concerned if word got out to the medical society, they may get shut down. So that's a real sensitive thing. It'd have to be a private nurse or a private practitioner.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the medical people, they like dominate that sphere, and it's very.
Well, I got the feeling that the people who are doing urine therapy injections are doing it word of mouth. You know, and what I'm suggesting to people, if you're willing enough to do it yourself, no problem, or find a nurse or somebody who does shots, who's willing to work with you and has an open mind.
Yeah, I mean, that to be the best if people done themselves, because then they don't put other people in any kind of responsibility, even though nothing's gonna happen to them if they are reasonably healthy. But
and perhaps, Natalie, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to know what your shirt says. Oh, it's your book on your shirt. Oh, that's cool. I couldn't see all the way down. Oh, nice.
I've got a dozen of these. I'm just so eager to give them away to people or sell them, whatever. So if you guys know anybody who wants a shirt with the cover, just let me know.
yeah, that's cool.
I went out and treated the book like it was a novelty item, and I was going to use this as promotional giveaways and stuff, and who knows where it's going to go.
Yeah, it looks very, very promotional. Like going on the street like that, people will be like, "Oh, what's that?" Just my book cover.
Well, if you walk down the street and you saw somebody that had a shirt that said urine therapy on it, would you talk to them, or would you turn and walk the other way?
I would be like, part of a clan.
Because all the guys that do kirtan and chanting and are related to the Hindu tradition, they'll go, "Oh, Shiva, that's Shiva." And they don't even need to read the words. They just want to see, oh, that's Shiva right there.
Yeah.
The power of Shiva. So anything else you want to discuss? If I'm keeping everybody awake here.
I just am observing now that I've practiced this for 2 months.
Yeah.
I just feel the accumulative effect, I guess, more and more. And yesterday I had a cranial sacral therapy session, the fourth one I did in my life, but the third one with this same lady, Kate. And laying on her table, I was connected to the divine source energy's love. And it was such a beautiful moment, and she could feel it too, because she could feel the energy completely at peace, where usually she's like, "Oh my gosh, there's this heavy energy right here," but everything was just peaceful and beautiful. And the angels guarding the 4 corners of her property were there with us. And I really feel like by practicing the urine therapy for the last couple months, I got to that experience because of the urine therapy practice. And so I was just feeling so blessed and so thankful, and so thankful for you, Brother Sage, to be sharing it with the world more so that I can learn more. And so it was a really beautiful moment that I'm grateful for.
So you have direct experience.
Yeah.
You're not
Am I-
gonna leave this path, are you?
No, I don't think so.
Nicola, do you think you'll ever leave this path?
Well, I
Uh-oh.
never really started it in like some fanatical extent. I was always doing it like a little by little, but yeah, I think I'm gonna keep the knowledge forever. That's for sure.
Yeah, if you stick with it like myself and Natalie, you'll start seeing benefits in all kinds of different areas of your life, not just your body.
My plants are doing so good too, because I've been watering them with water and my urine mixed together.
Mhm.
And they just like super love it. My spider plants, my aloe vera plant, like they're just super thriving. Yeah, they just
Yeah,
love
like
it.
I was reading, like for example, they did some research on urine as a best fertilizer, because urine can be used on like so many things, and people get shocked when I tell them that urine actually can be used as a gunpowder, but that's a different subject.
Well, here
But,
where I live is Sanctuary Garden. It's a 1-acre retreat center. And we encourage all our guys, and we're starting to encourage the gals, pee on the property. Don't use the toilet. You can hide behind a bush, whatever it takes. The soil loves it.
yeah, and especially if it's in combination with the wood crops, because wood crops, that's people who are in organic gardening or biodynamic gardening, they know that like a wood crop, when it's put around the plant and you put the water there, or let's say urine for this instance, that it drips to the plant by the system that's called drop by drop. And then like for example, if you put a liter of pee there, it's gonna drip a little bit and nourish a plant just the right amount in the right time. It will like grow as it nourished. It's not like overeating or something, you know.
Right.
So, and for example, they did research about the beets, and they take like a beets like with no fertilizer, with like fertilizer that people use like chemicals, and with urine and wood chops, and that beet grow like the longest, the thickest, the widest. It was like superior to everything.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, even in Mexico, they use human feces to fertilize their vegetables and fruits that they grow. And at first I thought that was kind of crazy, but here we use our animal fertilizer. Like at my dairy farm, when I grew up on the dairy farm, we use the manure to fertilize the plants. But I thought it was kind of weird in Mexico that they use the human feces and to fertilize the plants. But now I think, heck, why not? Like, I mean,
It's all good shit.
yeah.
Anyway, look at it. Natalie, would you, sweetie, would you be willing to make a short little video of what you described earlier about the plants thriving and flourishing by what you pour in it?
I can.
Yeah, just a little 2 to 3 minute clip would be great for people who need some new ideas.
I feel like my parents love me more.
There's people who said to me, I have way too much urine. I've been collecting too much urine. What do I do with it? I said, really? You can ask me that question? Come on. You start using it in your body, in your house, in your plants, in your yard. No telling what you can do. People are going to come up with new ways to use urine therapy that we've not even figured out this far in our journey.
Yeah, I was even thinking maybe it can be used instead of pesticide and those things, like just spray it on the plants, like for bugs not to attack it. But then I thought, like, animals drink urine in nature, so they'll probably attract even more animals. But I don't know.
Well, have you guys experimented with using a diffuser or a nebulizer to clean the bacteria out of the room?
Yeah, I didn't use that.
My daughter wouldn't let me put it in the diffuser. Just the smell in the bathroom angers her. So, but I'll try it when she's not here.
Yeah, you can always throw essential oil around the bathroom or whatever it takes to clean up the room. But I thought it'd be neat. I've got a friend who's got a far infrared sauna. You know what those are?
Yeah.
There's now near infrared, which is supposed to be a higher spectrum of light, and there's far infrared. But the sauna is a redwood room with a door. You've got seating for 2, maybe 3 people, and then the element that brings the heat in there. Well, Layla is her name, and she brings her dog and her cat in while we're sitting there talking. And after about 30 minutes, the dog leaves, the cat leaves. I thought, well, what if you were diffusing Orion in there and being hit with far infrared? I mean, that might be quite, or what you do is you just go in the bathroom, soak down on it, go sit in there, towels on the bench if you need to, and let the heat drive those nutrients as your pores open up. Let the heat drive the nutrients into your skin, into your body.
Yeah, that's what I thought also, like when is the best time to do like you're in bed, and I thought, well, I can do like a hot shower and then to do that or something like that.
Yeah. The best time to take a urine bath is whenever you feel like it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a set time. Another thing you might try, and I don't do this every night, is to have a good size. This is a liter, but if you had a good amount of it with the lid off, put it on your nightstand. And just let the fumes or the vapor come in and do the air if you don't want to use electrical diffuser or nebulizer. That's another way you can do this. And I do that sometimes. Just leave it by your head, by your bedstand. Plus, if you're thirsty, you can take a drink.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you guys work at it, you're going to come up with all kinds of inventive ways to use your water, as well as to be able to. And if you come up with something I've not figured out, please let me know.
Yeah, like the last time I I said that I read that the elephant urine is that people drink that for pregnant mothers, and these weird things I find everywhere.
Yeah. I had this talk the other day. Someone says, well, people are drinking cow urine, goat urine, camel urine. One woman was doing her dog's urine, said it healed her. You know, they're trying all kinds of interspecies water. I'm going, that sounds really cool. However, when my friend was in India and she knew I was big in this topic, she brought me about 8-ounce pint size of Gomutra, which is their brand or their name for cow urine. And she was just so thrilled to give it to me. And I was so thrilled that she gave it to me. I took one smell of it. I'm going, it smells like the floor of the barn. I took one drink of it and I go, I'm drinking off the floor of the barn. This is not, I could not make the gap. I could not make the leap. So I figured it's a cultural thing.
Yeah, I guess so.
I ended up using the rest for my skin and my plants.
I've been really enjoying mixing my Oran in with my green smoothies, like, or my green juice. It's not really a smoothie, my green juice. It's like a powder green juice. And then I just mix my urine and water with it. And because then it masks the taste too. So I can drink more of it then, I feel like.
So nothing overpowers, and no taste overpowers the other?
Yep.
I like it. It's a great idea. See, these are all alternatives for people who are going through the same process. Well, I'll drink it, but I'm not sure if I'll like the taste. Well, what if it didn't taste like you thought it tastes, but it was delicious? Oh yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
I really like the aftertaste in my mouth when I just drink my orange straight, like after sip looping.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, for some reason, I just enjoy, like, wow, my mouth tastes so good. I don't know, I've observed that.
Yeah, that's what fresh mouth tastes like. Another thing which is fun is, you're familiar with pulling?
Yeah, I've done that with coconut oil and castor oil. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you did it with Oran pulling is basically leaving it in your mouth for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. And it seems that the longer I leave it in my mouth, there's new subtle tastes come in, new back tastes come in, and I feel like there's energy pouring in. It's almost like it doesn't diminish its potency. Like some people would think, well, you had it in your mouth for a while, wouldn't that be less potent? Didn't seem to be that way. And one person had said to me, well, if you use it for pulling, won't that bring the toxins out of your gums, out of your teeth, out of your tongue? I said, no, it alchemizes everything. It lifts it up to Shivambu's vibration and it matches the vibration of Shivambu. And then you drink it, you're fine. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that's powerful.
So that's one of the bullet points I write about, other than it being an intuitive medicine, and that it's not gender specific, age specific, race specific, illness specific. It has the principle of alchemization. And that is pretty impressive. So maybe as we're evolving and moving up to 5D, our water's already there. We're drinking 5-dimensional water. That's pretty amazing, huh? Because plasma, you know what plasma is? Plasma is the 5th state. There's that number again. It's the 5th state of matter: solid, liquid, gas, air or ether, and plasma. Plasma is also the life-saving yellow blood that first responders give to a victim that's going in the ambulance. They shoot them full of plasma, right? What do we drink? Ultra-filtered plasma. We're drinking 5th dimensional state of being, state of matter. Why do you think people feel like there's a lift in their consciousness?
Yeah. Yeah, that's powerful.
So,
when people are doing injections, would it be the same if somebody injected themselves into vein directly or into muscle or anywhere?
All the teachings that I ever read said put it into muscle, put it into your hip, put it into your butt, put it into muscle. I don't think it'll have any damaging effect because it's like putting blood back into blood. But
yeah, I saw like in one documentary, one guy said, I just wanted to shot in my vein just for a heck of it, and nothing happened. I was fine.
Oh, it wasn't affected one way or the other?
Well, he didn't say that he was like got enlightened, but he didn't have a negative effect.
And was that his one and only time he did that?
I don't know, it was like a documentary, and that little clip of his was like 5 seconds or something. So I don't know the guy. I didn't talk to him in person or nothing.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to catch on and it'll be a fad, because fads come and go. Do you remember when people were snorting chocolate? About
Really?
5 or 10 years ago, I was marketing cacao from Peru back in 2005. And then about 10, 15, I got out of that business because everybody's brother was underselling me on the internet. But years later, guys were going, in London, it's fashionable now to take powdered chocolate in a certain kind of straw and snort it up your nose. And I tried that. I tried that. I'm going, this is silly. I don't get it. But to show you how things become popular, maybe it'll become popular when people are snorting urine or injecting urine. It is in our circles.
Yeah. Yeah, like it just like the truth always goes to the surface, so it just needs enough time for it to spread out.
To bubble up into, yeah, into spread.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Any last suggestions? We're coming to our hour here. Any last suggestions, advice, or insights you'd like to leave for our viewers?
Well, I would like to say that there is unlimited usage to urine, and oh yeah, I was also thinking because in the recent time, I'm into survival skills and all these things, nature related, and people are using in pottery. They're putting a water there to like make a shine on some kind of pot or something, and it ends up being like a very nice shine afterwards after it burns. So I remember when I was vegan, I was drinking a lot of juices and stuff, and my urine would get green and brown and yellow. And I thought if I collect that and if I put it all on the pot or something, I can make like different colors of pots or whatever. I think that would be a good selling idea. Nobody would know with what you color it with.
Until you tell them, of course.
Yeah, then they're not gonna be buyers anymore.
You never know. People are open to all kinds of things. Since our world got shaken apart and our belief systems got shaken apart and our foundations and our infrastructure got shaken apart, the mind got shucken up enough that it'll go, well, I'm open to new ideas now because my reality doesn't make any sense. So I think that was a blessing in the last year that the people's world got changed around.
Yeah.
Did you notice that your priorities changed?
Well, I kind of had a similar belief system even before this all scamdemic happened, but yeah, it kind of deepened it up a little bit.
What it did for me is I started cleaning up all my relationships. I said, these things are important to me. I don't want to lose them. And whatever issues I got, I better just get to them right away. So I've been clearing with everybody. It's been quite a ride, and I recommend it.
Yeah.
Natalie, any last words before we go?
Just thank you. Thank you.
All right. So she has given us the mantra of today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Short, simple, and powerful.
Very simple. There's a spiritual teacher named Muji. Have you heard of Muji?
Oh yeah. I was watching him a little bit.
Yeah, he basically says if there's one mantra that you can use all the time that will cover you is thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, Natalie gave us two-word solution.
Beautiful, guys.
Problems.
So you know how to reach me if you want to talk about the subject or anything. And I will have this uploaded and I'll send you guys out the link shortly.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, onward through your day.
All right, people. See ya.
We'll talk soon, guys.
Bye.
Bye.